Today we're going to talk about hard money loans, DSCR, ARVs, and refis. And if those words sound like you need to be interested in this, then pay attention because we're going to go through a specific scenario that somebody reached out to me and I got to be able to guide them correctly. So that's why I'm making this video. All right, so number one, and then we're going to go through this. Number one, we're going to go through a DSCR versus a hard money loan. So when somebody reaches out to me and they say, hey, I need a DSCR loan, then most likely I'm thinking for DSCR, this is long-term 30-year debt, lower interest rates. We're talking about lower interest rates versus hard money loan, right? Lower interest rates, limited or reduced rehab, needs to be move-in ready. Okay, I just got a call about this today, and some guy's like, hey, yeah, the HVAC, right, it got stolen, and can I still buy this property with the DSCR loan? The answer is no. They need to replace the HVAC, the HVAC. Even if it got stolen, you wouldn't be able to buy that with the DSCR loan. If the roof needs to be replaced, there's a massive hole in the roof, there's a bunch of electrical wires sticking out everywhere that's unsafe, there's cracks in the foundation. So there's a recent fire, right? That is not when you use a DSCR loan. So DSCR loan is move-in ready, limited or reduced rehab, lower interest rates, right? When you want lower interest rates, obviously, 30-year debt, long-term financing. That's when you're bringing in a DSCR loan. For those who may not know what a DSCR loan is, a DSCR loan does not use your income to qualify. Like your personal income does not matter. So this is just rental income. It's not actually an equation. Rental income divided by your monthly payment. Okay, this is actually the DSCR ratio, debt service coverage ratio. Debt service coverage ratio. All it means is, does the debt of the property, can it be covered? Can the income of the property service the debt? That's really what you're saying. Can the debt be serviced and covered by the rental income? So that's what this calculation does. Quick example, $2,000 of rental income divided by $1,000 of PITI, which is the monthly payment. This equals a 2.0 DSCR. This is different than the 1% rule. Some are like, oh, if it matches the 1% rule. It's not the same thing. The 1% rule says if you buy a property that's worth, it's a big difference here, that's worth, in the rental income is 1% of the value. So if the value is $500,000, if the rental income is at least $5,000, that's the rental income, right? 1% of $5,000, 1% of $500,000 is $5,000. That's how you know the property will cash flow. That is not a DSCR loan or a DSCR ratio. The DSCR is a ratio that lenders will use to see if you're gonna break even, not even cash flow. That's the part that's crazy, is that we just trying to see if you're gonna sort of break even. I say sort of break even because we can still do loans even if they don't break even. Like, why would we do that? It's because if you're doing Airbnb, you're doing co-living or something, then we put you into a loan product that you're barely breaking even in, but only because we know you're going to make more money. So now we got DSCRs, what they are, kind of when you would use them. And then you're going to compare that against hard money loans. Okay. HMLs, hard money loans. So hard money loans, short term. This is usually 3, 6, 12, maybe 24 months. Higher rate. In financing, these are all tools, okay? It's not that one is better than the other. It's when do you use the one? So obviously some tools are overkill. You know, if you're dealing with a certain type of wall, then you're not going to use like a power drill because you're going to damage the wall and it's not going to stay. You might be using, or like you're going to go into a certain wood, it's delicate wood. You're not going to use the power drill. You're going to use more of a screwdriver so it doesn't crack, doesn't break. It's the same idea here. These are financing tools that you need to learn when to use. So don't look at hard money loans and think and see like higher rate. Oh no, that's bad. It's not bad. It's just a tool that you're going to use to help you build your portfolio. So we'll go hard money loans, higher rate. This exactly right here, right? Can buy beat up houses, fires, no roof, additions, helps cover rehab costs. These are all the reasons why you would want to use a hard money loan. Lower down payment. You can actually get like 10% down on hard money loans, even if you're brand new, if you've never done a rehab before, right? If you have experience, there's actually 0% down hard money lenders out there, and does not need to be ultimately, right, move-in ready. So this is where you start comparing between DSCR and hard money. And when I try to share with people, like, okay, well, what's your goal? Now we can go into a specific scenario. So we talked about DSCR versus hard money. Check. Why? So somebody reached out to me. Why immediate refi with DSCR is no bueno. So somebody reached out to me, and you guys can go ahead and take a screenshot of this or something if you want to save that. Somebody reached out to me and they said, "Hey, Fernando, I want to buy this property for $140,000, and this is the purchase price. We'll say PP is purchase price." And I asked, "What's the rehab?" It says they're like, "Oh, it doesn't need to be rehabbed." Okay, so $0. There's gonna be a co-living property. So then you can then ask, well, what's the conversion cost? Like, what are you gonna convert it? You're gonna do something to the property. It doesn't need rehab. You're gonna do something to the property. And so let's just say, she hasn't gotten back to me yet. Let's just say this is $40,000. And then what's the ARV gonna be, right? And she actually said the ARV is gonna be like $232,000. So in this case, I usually will ask, are you sure that the conversion is going to increase the value of the home? The reason why I ask that question is because if you've got a 4-bed, 2-bath and you're converting this into an 8-bed, 2-bath, but you didn't actually add any square footage, you didn't legally permit the garage. This is just the regular floor plan of the house, and all you did was chop things up, and you just did this and added more bedrooms, and then now you think that is going to comp. That used to be a 4.2, right? And you think it's going to increase the ARV. It's not true. That's not directly correlated. More bedrooms does not equal a higher ARV. And there's so much more in an appraisal. We won't get into it here, but I would just double check. I'm usually questioning, not because I don't trust you, I just want to question, hey, are you sure? That's really it. So first off, that's the first question I would ask is, okay, your conversion is $40,000. What are you doing to the property, and why is the value going to go up so much? Now, let's she comes back and she's like, "Oh, I'm just buying it at a super steep discount. This is a tired landlord, or it's just they weren't paying their taxes, so I bought it on an auction." Whatever the scenario is. By the way, if you're buying it at an auction, DSCR loans close in 25 to 30 days. So that auction, usually they want to close in less than 20 days. Also going to be difficult to close with a DSCR loan in that scenario, even if you could. So just want to share that right now. So that's where you would use a hard money loan to close. Actually, just put that up here. Faster close times. Faster closings with hard money loans. So let's go back in. Here we got the purchase price, the conversion, the ARV. And so she said, "I want to buy this with the DSCR loan." And I'm sitting here, me as an investor and a lender, there's a lot of meat in between the 140 and the 232 in a good way. And my concern is like, why are you buying this with the DSCR loan? Like, why would I say that? So then she said, well, she was kind of like, well, why wouldn't I use a DSCR? It's a lower interest rate, right? It's a better deal. And the reason you would not DSCR loans have something called and not, this is, I don't want to say all of them, but I'm going to say 90%. I can't just make a blanket statement that all of them do. 90% of DSCR loans have what are called prepayment penalties. Okay, and we'll call these PPPs for short. All that means is that the lender wants to make money off of you, just hands down, right? We don't need to shy away from it. They're putting in the work to create the loan, give it to you. They don't have to follow the same rules as a VA loan, an FHA loan, conventional loan, right? So they can say, hey, we want you to stay in this loan. I'm gonna give you this money. I want you to stay in the loan for at least 3 years or 5 years. Prepayment penalties are never more than 5 years. I've personally been in 3-year prepays. My clients have been in 5-year prepays, especially the ones that are more seasoned. They've been around the block, so they know they're going to hold their properties for more than 5 years. I personally, it was my first time getting a DSCR loan. I just didn't like the idea of holding on to a loan and being locked in for 5 years. Funny enough, 5 years later, I still haven't, really cared to refinance or not. That's just it doesn't matter. So that's a learning lesson for me too, where it's like, if you make money, you make money, and it's not a big deal. So a prepayment penalty is a penalty for paying off the debt early. Let's just say there's a 3-year prepayment penalty on the DSCR loan. That means you cannot pay off the DSCR loan for 3 years, or else you're going to have a penalty. People say, well, how much is the penalty? It depends. So in a 3-year prepayment penalty, there's different types of penalties. There's 3-2-1, which all that means is it's 3% in year 1, 2%, and it's 2% of the loan amount. Year 2, 1%, year 3. In all these instances, it's of loan amount. There we go. So if it's 3% of, let's say the loan amount's $100,000. 3% of $100,000 is $3,000. 2% the next year, if you were to pay it off, and paying it off means that you refi, you sell, you actually just pay it off with your own cash. Pay it off with cash. All these would trigger the PPP and a PPP prepayment penalty. So this is one type of prepayment penalty, but there's also, instead of 3-2-1, it could be 5-4-3. All that means is it's 5% year 1, 4% year 2, 3% year 3, and then it goes to 0, and then it's 0% from then on, right? Same thing over here. It goes to 0. So it only lasts for the set amount of time that you got. Like, well, why would somebody pick a 3-year versus a 5-year and versus a 2-year or a 1-year? And it's just the interest rate changes. So obviously, if you're taking a bigger risk in, if you're telling the lender that you're going to stay in the loan for longer, the lender's going to reward you with the lower interest rate. So if you're going to stay in a loan for 5 years, then they will give you a lower interest rate. If you're staying in loan for 3 years, they're going to give you a slightly higher interest rate. For 2 years, even higher. For 1 year, even higher. Okay? So that's all there is here. So there's another option is a 5-4-3. There's also 3-3-3, which is just 3% year 1, 3% year 2, 3% year 3. There's also 5-5-5, which is the same thing, but it's 5% year 1, 5% year 2, 5% year 3. And there's different types. So there's not just a 3-year. As I mentioned, you can get a 1 year, you can get a 2-year, you can get a 3-year, you can get a 4-year, you can get a 5. So it's never more than 5. I've never seen anything more than 5 on the prepayment penalty. And on the lease side, maybe there's a 6-month one. So you're just always going to pay for it somewhere. You're gonna pay for the 1 year on the DSCR side. You're gonna get the higher rate. Some people, if they don't need the hard money loan, and they know they're gonna refi in a year, they might get the 1 year, even though it's a higher rate. They might say, well, just give me the higher rate. I'll get in it now. So going back to this example up here, I'll buy this for 140. It's kind of maybe what somebody's saying. I'll buy this for 140, and I know my ARV is 232. I'll wait a year. Just put me in a 1 year. I'll get a higher rate. Put me in the 1 year loan, and then I'll refinance later. Okay. The problem with that is, well, now you're still waiting a year. And so for this scenario in particular, and especially for conversion cost is only $40,000, I would not suggest an invoice authorization if she wants to capture all of this here. If she wants to capture all of this and her conversion cost is only 40 grand, I would not suggest an invoice authorization. If you don't know what an invoice authorization is, then go ahead and just comment invoice and we'll send over what that means. But it's a way for you to finance your conversion costs into the upfront purchase of the loan. This is such a big gap though, where honestly, my recommendation on this would probably be if they want to refinance quickly and capture this equity, then it's going to be going the hard money route. You can buy a bridge loan or get a hard money loan. If the value of the property will legitimately increase to 232, you get a hard money loan, you get the rehab paid for with the hard money loan, right, in a reimbursement schedule, and you now can refinance right after you're done doing all the conversions. Maybe you're going to add more bathrooms. Maybe you are going to add more square footage and you're going to permit it. You're going to convert the garage. And maybe that's why the property value does increase to 232. And in that scenario, I would buy with a hard money loan, do the conversion if it's going to add value, and then I would refinance, and I would work with a DSCR lender that does not have a seasoning period, because this $40,000 rehab is probably only going to take a month to 3 months max. I guess it depends on if you're getting permits and all that other stuff. But 40 grand is not like a massive rehab. So that's what I would do. And then you would do the refinance at the 232. You would get money back to pay off the hard money lender. You're going to pay high interest for a short period of time, but you're not going to have to worry about these prepayment penalties with the DSCR loan. And yeah, you get the rehab paid for. That's kind of the route I would take. Or if you're okay with waiting a year to refinance, then you choose like a DSCR loan with a 1 year prepay. But then that just means you're also paying a higher interest rate for a year. You don't need that whole year. Especially if you're going to finish the rehab in like a month or two, then you're just in the hard money alone and you're out. So it's a very quick in and out. That's how I would analyze this deal personally. If you got questions, throw them in the comments. I'm happy to answer, but or I might have sent you this video to just educate you as well on how this works. Send it to somebody else who has questions on hard money loans, refis, ARVs, DSCR. Hopefully this helps you guys out, and just keep following the journey. Thank you so much. See ya. If you want to book a call with my team to talk specifically about your scenario, it'd be great. Would love to help you guys out. So looking forward to it. Take care.